In 2007, a beautiful female corpse appeared on the streets of Puyang City. A homeless man stumbled upon the body and intended to drag her into an alley for his own purposes, but was stopped by several concerned citizens. By the time the police arrived, they discovered that the deceased was actually one of their own, a female officer named Li Waning from the municipal police department. Meanwhile, another beautiful female corpse was recovered from the banks of the Huangpu River. He was wearing a pair of leather pants with a tail, and his identity was Kiruo, a policewoman from the Municipal Public Security Bureau. According to the results of the incident, both policewomen were strangled to death and suffocated, and there were traces of beatings on their buttocks. The leather pants worn by Kiruo were some kind of toys. The deceased may have been persecuted by 18 kinds of martial arts before her death, but after forensic identification, no other people's DNA was found in the deceased's body. The special case team came to the apartment shared by the two deceased. There were many different colored stockings on the sofa, with some unknown liquid on the stockings. No blood was found in the house, so it was not a murder. At the scene, Sumei checked the consumption records of the two deceased and found that they were very keen on high consumption, and their monthly expenses far exceeded their income as police officers. There were also many artistic photos of divers in strange costumes in the computer, showing the bodies in the waters. In the deceased's bag, they found a whip, handcuffs, a dog collar, a necklace, and several stones. It was clear that the deceased and the murderer must have had some special interests. The landlord living next door mentioned that he often saw strangers coming in and out of the two female officers' room, including people of all ages. Back at the station, Baojun examined the evidence and found that the fluid on the stockings was human secretion, and after DNA comparison, it turned out to be the landlord's son's. The police immediately brought the landlord and his son in for questioning, but it turned out that the landlord had no time or motive to commit the crime. Instead, during the interrogation of the landlord's son, Sumei uncovered an important clue. He had sneaked into the apartment while the two female officers were away and used the stockings they had worn to wipe a gun that accidentally went off. Later, the two policewomen suddenly returned home, and she hid in the closet and overheard their conversation. But because she was very scared at the time, she only remembered a few words. "This person is very important. The money given is twice as much as others. I don't want to do this job anymore. How can I do it? We have an appointment for tomorrow." Where did my USB drive go? It's obvious that I am stepping back from this circle. Besides their work at the station, the two female police officers were also involved in some side jobs. They arranged for Sumei to investigate toy stores in the city to see where they could buy the props that appeared in the case. During the investigation, Sumei was locked in a warehouse by a toy store owner who knelt on the ground, begging her to insult him and hit himself. 30 minutes later, Baochin and the others arrived with a battering ram to break down the door. With tears in her eyes, Sumei tightly clutched a USB drive as Baojun interrogated the toy store owner. He claimed that people often came to buy toys, and he had seen the two deceased female officers. The owner said he could give them the items for free, but they needed to insult him and beat him up a bit. The two female officers agreed and left the station with the toys afterward. The chief and the criminal police captain believed that the boss was likely the murderer and should be tortured to extract a confession. However, Professor Liang said that the boss was not the murderer, and the real murderer was the criminal police captain who had been pretending to investigate the case. For a moment, the atmosphere in the office became tense. The research department continued. "You thought you were perfect, but you overlooked one person." "Who?" did the captain ask. The homeless man who was picking up corpses saw a body thrown from a car. The car was a police car. He subconsciously wrote down the license plate number. After comparison, it was your car. Sumei found a USB flash drive in the warehouse of the toy store owner, which contained more than a dozen homemade videos. Do you want to see who the male lead is? Everyone has some unknown little secrets in their hearts. The new captain is a masochist. He is the first boss of the two policewomen. Out of the desire for money, the two became queens and charged to educate their boss. The criminal police captain enjoyed it very much and recorded every process and saved it in a USB flash drive. The 54-year-old director accidentally discovered this USB flash drive and saw the contents inside. He went to the captain and asked to try it, but because of his role, he had to wear a blindfold. Two female officers went to buy props and dropped a USB drive, later picked up by Sumei. The investigation team found it, suspected the captain, but lacked evidence to confront him. Professor Liang arranged a covert investigation into the captain and chief's movements using hotel surveillance footage. Not long after seeing the footage of the chief and the captain checking into the hotel, the two female police officers also entered the same hotel. However, by midnight the next day, the chief and the captain each left the hotel with a large suitcase. The reason they had to kill the two female officers was that during the education process, the chief got too excited and accidentally removed his mask. The two female police officers recognized the chief and demanded a car, a house, and money, threatening to expose the situation if their demands weren't met. The chief, being ruthless and not one for many words, teamed up with the captain to kill them and eliminate the witnesses. They chose the simple and brutal method of disposing of the bodies because, with the two female officers already dead, any handling of the situation would attract police attention and investigation, which was also a thrill for them.
Let's break this down. What do you think was the most shocking part of this case? 1. The corrupt police chief's double life. 2. The USB drive exposing sadistic secrets. 3. The homeless man who became an unlikely hero. Drop your answer below. And here's the big question. Could this happen in your city? Was this about power,
identification,
perversion,
no other people's
or
DNA
both?
was found in the
Would you
deceased
have trusted
body.
the police
The
chief if
special
you
case
worked
team
with
came to the
him?
apartment
And what's
shared
your
by the
take
two
on the
deceased.
victim's
There
side
were many
hustle,
different colored
justice or
stockings on the sofa,
recklessness?
with
Let's
some
debate.
unknown liquid on
If
the
you were on the
stockings.
jury,
No
would
blood
you
was
give
found
the
in
chief
house,
life in
so it
prison
was not a
or
murder.
something worse?
At the scene,
Smash
checked
like
the
if you're
consumption records
outraged
of the
by
two
this
deceased
corruption,
and found that
and
they were very
subscribe
keen
for
on
more
high
true
consumption,
crime that'll
and their
leave
monthly
you questioning
expenses
who
far
to
exceeded
trust.
their income as police officers.